Following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah! Go Cowboys!
This is the Players Lounge, broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now, your hosts, Barry Church, Hek'ma Harrison, and Newy Scruggs.
All right, everybody, here we go. It is the Players Lounge. No players today. It's just me, Newy Scruggs, and Hek'ma Harrison.
It's just
him. It's just us.
It's just him.
It's just us today. So we will power through. Barry Church off today, former Cowboys safety. Lots of topics to get to as the Cowboys are now back here full-time in North Texas. Had another open practice yesterday at Ford Center for fans to come in and check out for free as they get ready for all efforts toward the Cleveland Browns to start the 2024 NFL season. So, Hek'ma, they've added two more names to the practice squad today, but the other name that was added yesterday of big importance was Dalvin Cook. We'll get into Dalvin Cook, but I want to start with, to me, the most important, which is the quarterback. Jerry Jones met with the media yesterday. Jerry has the smoothest press conferences that I've ever covered from this standpoint. Nobody knows how to put a sponsor in front of a massive group of media before the press conference. So if he just says, hey, look, we're going to have a lottery, a Texas lottery press conference, that's the Cowboys, scratch off, and just like, hey, we're going to have it at 10 o'clock on a Wednesday. Nobody shows. Right. But to have a presser in which Jerry's going to talk, well, we're all showing up for that.
Oh, yeah.
But beforehand, here come the cheerleaders, and here comes the little scratch-off thing, and then the guy comes over, and then we talk to him, and you know what? I learned more about the scratch-off and a whole bunch of stuff there. So I was like, this is smart. I remember the time he had Papa John come in when they started their sponsorship of Papa John's Pizza. First off, as a training camp, he brought a whole bunch of pizzas.
So you're happy about that? Happy about that? All right.
So here's so Papa John talks, Jerry goes through that, and then after Jerry talks, in here comes the head coach and everything. I was like, you know what? That's a smart way to do it. Yeah. If you want to get coverage for the sponsor and the media to talk about it and get out there. So I was like, this is Jerry. Jerry's still on top of his game. But then he went into the questions, and it became about Dak Prescott. And one of the questions I asked him is, what's plan B? What's the strategy here? You do not have another quarterback under contract next year, because Jerry basically came out and told everyone, and Clarence Hill wrote about it. He's not signing Dak before the season. So the deal for CeeDee Lamb, that was for CeeDee Lamb. There's no deal coming for Dak Prescott. Hek'ma, how do you feel about that and no plan B?
Well, look, I think this is Jerry being the ringleader, basically, in this circus, and calling you all in and making you hang on every word that he says. And the media is going to do that because it's Jerry, and he knows how to play you guys. He really does. Us guys. I'm sorry. I'm a part of that as well. But, when it comes to the roadmap and you ask the biggest question, well, what do you do if you don't sign Dak? And no one has even gotten to that part of it. What does plan B look like? And to America's team, Plan B does not look good at all. Plan B does not get butts into the seats. Plan B does not get more memorabilia per purchase. So whatever Plan B is, if it's not Dak, it's going to have to be something else. Because right now I don't believe you have a quarterback on your roster that you're confident with going forward in the future. You're not saying, hey, we're just going to develop this guy some more and he's going to be the one to take us to the promised land. The future without Dak doesn't look like 12-win seasons. The future without Dak looks much more abysmal. And people can talk about what they think about this season all they want to. The previous seasons when they went 12-5, people were not predicting them to go 12-5. And they had talented rosters. Right. And so here you go. Here is, and if you're just asking me to dissect and interpret what Jerry is saying, I don't have enough skins on the wall, one, to be able to do that. But number two, when it comes down to what's going on with Dak, I'm not saying that this is a ploy in him negotiating through the media, but if I was a betting man, I'd be betting that there's a deal already on the table for Dak, and Dak has yet to sign that deal.
You're like all of us were yesterday. We don't know what's going on.
Right.
You're just asking the question, trying to figure it out about why this doesn't make sense. So Jerry tells me, you know what? they could all be under contract. It wouldn't matter. They may not be here. So he went to this whole rigmarole of, okay, it doesn't matter if they're under contract because basically, I could fire them. I could get rid of it. It doesn't matter. Just because they're under contracts mean nothing.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, Jerry. What do you mean they mean nothing? They do mean something.
We haven't got to that point yet, have we?
That's why Trey Lance is here.
Exactly.
Making $5 billion.
You know what makes sense and doesn't, right? Come on now, you know, fool.
So he gave us that whole rigmarole. And then Jeff Kolb of Fox 4 asked Jerry a very legitimate question. What else does Dak Prescott have to prove to you that he's worthy of contract?
Yeah.
And Jerry said nothing. And then he goes into the whole economics of this and that. So Jerry just runs around this whole thing there. And we're just sitting there like, okay, Jerry, make it make sense.
Yeah, any day now. The math is going to math, right?
Make it make sense. And when you say you think that there's a contract there for Dak to sign, here's why I would be skeptical on just me.
Okay.
Considering you already hurt your leg before, would you want to risk that? And you say you want to be here. And if there's a deal here that's ready to go that you like, why would you not take it?
Look, okay, so let's just be clear on this. That right now at the headquarters in Frisco, this is a pressure cooker situation going into this season. Everybody is basically performing for their job in the future. If everybody besides CeeDee Lamb, right? And so with that being said, there are a lot of people here that need for this team to be successful. One of them right now, Dak Prescott, I feel like he's not a part of that pressure cooker situation because let me tell you something. Dak's going to get paid $60 million regardless.
Yes.
Regardless.
He should be playing free. I'm getting paid.
Think about it. If we could just really add up who the pressure is on this season to succeed and fail and what the representation of what this team is going to look like when we get to January. Dak is going to get paid regardless if he's hurt or not. Some team is going to pay more than market value for him. I would beg to say that Mike McCarthy right now is the one who's sweating the most as we're talking about Dak. Dak is going to land on his feet.
I'll tell you this, and this is my opinion, just my opinion. I think McCarthy's fine too. If Mike McCarthy is on the street after this year, I truly believe that he'll get a head coaching job.
Of course. Mike McCarthy's not going to go somewhere and be an assistant. That's never going to happen to Mike. Come on.
I would say from this standpoint, if we're asking ourselves right now, have they done everything to help Mike McCarthy? Or they made it a little bit harder on Mike McCarthy. I'd say, look, it's been made a little bit harder on Mike McCarthy here. And if Mike McCarthy can figure out how to just a winning season, okay? Just a winning season. You go 9-8 here, considering what All In was said and what All In showed us.
Okay.
This guy has another winning season. Your first year calling plays again. Dak Prescott, who led the league in picks the year before.
True.
As you said, we got to get rid of his offensive coordinator. You take over. He leads the league in touchdown passes. CeeDee Lamb is, one vote away from being unanimous All-Pro?
Absolutely.
This man has shown, in my mind, he can coach. And you start going down the wins list that we talked about here. He's top 20 all the time.
Right.
This man is a really good coach in this league. In a league where there ain't a lot of good coaches.
Right.
We saw my man in L.A., Brandon Staley was out there set up the charges. So we're seeing guys get jobs that can't perform. So to me, Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy should just do what they do. And if they're not wanted here, I do believe they'll be wanted somewhere else.
My question is on that. It comes down to who did we lose when we start talking about this team and when we start talking about talent on this team? Who did we lose of substance that we're saying our team is much worse because we lost this person? We had you had 9 All-Pros on last year's team. All right, if you take away the specialty guys, you lost Tyron Smith. An aging veteran, still top of his game at left tackle. That still leaves you with 6 All-Pros on this team that you have under contract this year. There aren't a lot of teams with 6 All-Pros on them. And I'm taking away the other specialty guys that you have that are definitely viable for you.
I'll hit you back with this. You now have 2 rookies that are going to start for you on the offensive line. At, I would say, the 2 most critical positions on the offensive line, left tackle and center. So that's a worry. Your running back room is question mark filled. That's one reason why you got Dalvin Cook in here. I had to fill out a sheet the other day that said, okay, how many yards will Ezekiel Elliott gain? And they're assuming it was
what's your number? What's your number? What's your number? Can I guess? Can I guess?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead. Take
Newy Scruggs went between 650 and 800. No. Lower than that?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Really? What, 400 to 600?
It was in the 400 range.
Wow.
It was under 500.
Okay.
And I say that to you from the standpoint, right now, we don't know exactly what it is they're going to do. You've brought in Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
Rico Dowdle, I was listening to Brian on the break. If you don't listen to the break here, make sure you go over to DallasCowboys.com and check out all the great podcasts. But the break is one I was just checking out on my way over here today. He thinks at some point in time they're going to look at Rico Dowdle and say, you know what, hey, young man, we want to see more from you. Can't forget about my guy, El Boogie, Olympic. This is a smorgasbord of running backs here. Don't look at 2016 Zeke or 2017 or 2018 Zeke.
Right.
He's not that player anymore. I don't know exactly what they're going to do because what do I always say here, man? Listen to what they don't say.
Right.
Nobody's come out here and said, Ezekiel Elliott's our workhorse guy. Ezekiel's the number one guy.
Hadn't seen him.
Even what they talked about last year with Tony Pollard, you're not hearing anybody tell you that about this running back room. So until I'm not convinced. So that's what I'm saying. This thing's going to be spread out. It's going to be, where do they want to go with this hot hand? Injuries, this whole thing. So offensive line, running back room's a question. The defensive line, at their defensive tackle spots are issues. Outside of your starters at the defensive end spots, you confident about the backups?
Yeah.
I mean, there's questions. So when you say, hey, look, you've got 6 All-Pros, having All-Pros helps. One of your All-Pros is down. Deron Bland for at least a month. We'll see when he comes back. So there's question marks there that I would say. But I understand your premise of, hey, look, is this a talented roster? Yes. This is a talented roster. How it fits and gels together, we'll see. This is where I come back into you where I think Mike McCarthy has shown you since he's been here, especially after that first year, he knows how to work with young players and knows how to make the jigsaw puzzle work. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll do wins later on, how many wins we think they'll get. But I just think there's some unsolved question marks here about where this team goes. And I believe offensive and defensive lines are where you win these football games.
I do too.
I believe it's also where the Cowboys lost their playoff game last year because they weren't strong on either one.
Okay. So in this case, like I agree with half of your premise when
shoot holes in it, baby. Go ahead. No, please do. That's what we're doing. Shoot holes.
The thing is, when I think about Mike McCarthy, and since he's been hired here, the one thing that he has been willing to do is change. It's something needs to be changed. And I'm talking about this goes from his defensive coordinator, his offensive line coach, positions that were not working out. Mike McCarthy has not stayed the course in situations. He's made those changes. He understands exactly what's going on with his front line, and I think you point out something that's very important. Dealing with a few rookies, not one, but 2 rookies on your offensive line, I don't think that that's advantageous, but look at the draft order of those 2 players that we're talking about, okay? I think that Guyton comes in here with a hell of a recipe of a guy that you know that you can take and make into a left tackle. Now, going to your running back position, I'm sorry, you were in the same position last year with Tony Pollard coming off of a snapped ankle, all right? So the expectation there wasn't that high, but Tony Pollard still finished with what? 1,000 yards. And I'm not saying
top 10 in the league.
And I am not sitting here saying that Zeke is going to be 1,000-yard rusher, okay? But I do believe that when you incorporate a guy like Dalvin Cook that's coming in, and his whole thing has been, can he stay healthy? And what version are you going to get of Dalvin Cook? But there are definitely packages that I believe that Coach McCarthy can use to his advantage. We call it the L Boogie package, all right? I formation with Dalvin Cook. What are some of the things that you've seen Dalvin Cook do in the past, being in the pistol, the way that he lines up off the formation, things like that I think can help you as a team, because it's going to be a running back by committee approach, and Dalvin Cook doesn't hurt that. So, look, I don't think that you are as bad off as we're trying to make this sound going into your first game in Cleveland.
Guyton was a right tackle at Oklahoma. Now he's going over to left, so there's a change.
Yeah.
And this is the National Football League, the toughest level that there is, and you're starting off with the Defensive Player of the Year. It's going to be an adjustment. The first 6 games are they're throwing the kitchen sink at him right away.
Of course.
I have a concern, and then how do you help him? That's been my concern as well. Is it Schoonmaker? What do you do to just throw him on out there and just say go handle it? I think that would be unfair.
Why do you take a guy in the first round then to be your left tackle, and you know that that's what his position is going to be? So, I mean, you setting him up for failure?
I'm not saying you're setting up for failure, but at the same time, I'm allowing an adjustment. I'm allowing a rookie to be a rookie. That it's going to take some time.
It didn't do that with Tyler Smith. He was a left tackle. You moved him to the left guard. I mean, look, I'm not trying to say that the adjustment is easy. I know that the speed of the game is completely different. I'm not naive to that. But just to say that, okay, this is the weakest part of your team because your first round draft pick, isn't any good. I think you've already talked about things that you could do to cover up some of those warts just starting off in Cleveland.
But remember, Tyler had to go play left tackle.
Okay.
Remember, guy had the injuries at camp.
Of course.
So he had to they had to throw him out there. And look, the guy did a fantastic job. He did. I just think that it's a lot to put out there for a guy to go from right to left and not think that, hey, man, there's going to be some tough nights out here. Start your first game off with Myles Garrett. I just think that's a challenge. I'm not saying that the guy's going to fall on his I'm not saying this is going to be another Mozzie Smith type situation where your first round pick is going to just let you down. Because Mozzie let everyone down. He was not what they thought he was going to be. I'm not saying that. What I'm just saying is you look at this schedule here, he's facing some heavy hitters. And along this thing, if I'm the coach, I got to sit up here and remember, he's a rookie player. It takes everybody a little minute to get here. Yeah. And then how do we help the player? Once again, I talk about warts. How do you cover up warts? If you're the defensive coordinator for Cleveland, let's figure out the left tackle's new. Of course. Center's new. Let's test them.
Yeah.
Let's test them. And so the tests are going to come. Solari's a good offensive line coach. We've seen his track record. The Cowboys as an organization, you are correct. They've done a very good job of developing people. But at the same time, I just know it takes people a minute. We can talk all day about how great CeeDee Lamb was last year, leading the league in receptions, making All-Pro. Remember the first 4 games?
Yeah.
It was not pretty.
Absolutely.
And we're talking about a veteran player who they had to figure it out a little bit. That's kind of my thing that I'm saying. Yeah. We just want to hit the presto button and say it's automatically going to happen. This league is a challenge.
Yeah.
And he's coming out facing one of the biggest challenges. Yeah. And, you've got J.J. Lott. You got Aiden Hutchinson on the list. You got Thibodeau. I mean, there's going to be some tests right here. We'll see how he works with it. But it's going to be a challenge. And I am going to be on the cautious side. Maybe that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I'm on the cautious side of things to say, hey, look, let's be ready because it's going to be a challenge. He may exceed everything. Yeah. He could. That could happen. We have seen it happen with their first-round picks. The offensive line, Tyron Smith excelled.
Yeah, you have a history, time-proof, and consistency.
Yes, Travis excelled. So if he excels, then hey man, you follow it. But at the same time, I'm one of those guys. I'm going to sit up here and just say, hey man, look, let's be. And at the same time, Zach and Tyron were number 1 at their positions pretty much coming out. Where they were ranked. Actually, Tyron was number 2, but they were ranked they're ranked high. He wasn't one of your top 2 offensive tackles off the board. He was drafted later. Travis Frederick was number 2 in his class at the center position. So there's a little bit of a difference. Tyler Smith was not. Tyler Smith was a guy people are like, who's this guy? Is it Tulsa? So we'll see. Yeah. But I'm just one of those. I would just say, hey, look, let's just be cautious here. It's going to be tough. And my gosh, Myles Garrett, heck of a player. From Arlington, Texas, heck of a player here. So we'll see where it goes. Yeah. Your confidence level is higher than mine. No. If we got a glass, so this is probably the best way I should put this before we go to break. If this is a glass, Hek'ma's looking at it saying it's half full.
You're saying it's half empty.
I'm saying we got to check that water. I don't know. You mean where the refill? The refill coming. So if I drink this right now, I'm gonna have a quarter left. I need the refill to come around here. So let's get our first break in here. This show is brought to you by Aristocrat Gaming. The name of it is Players Lounge. He's Hek'ma Harrison. I'm Newy Scruggs. Dalvin Cook is back here on the practice squad. I think I might be higher on Dalvin than you. Let's dive into that next.
Okay.
Right, on the Players Lounge. And this is DallasCowboys.com radio.
Are you the 2024 Dallas Cowboys Fan of the Year? The Dallas Cowboys and Captain Morgan are celebrating extraordinary, inspiring, and original fans. Nominate yourself or the biggest Cowboys fan you know for a chance to be named the 2024 Fan of the Year and win prizes, including a trip to Super Bowl 59. Visit DallasCowboys.com/Fan of the Year. Go Cowboys!
Hey there, Cowboys Nation. Kyle Yeomans here, sharing that same team that brought you Buffalo, bringing NFL casino games that show America's team on and off the reels. Aristocrat is changing the game with a new experience. Football fans, this means you can pick your team and play your team. Check out the Cowboys-themed casino games developed by Aristocrat, a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Gambling problem? Please contact the U.S. National Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-GAMBLER for 21 and over.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
And they snap it to Prescott, who looks right. It's not there. He escapes left. He'll run for a first down.
Just like football, when it comes to crypto, it's important to have a team you can trust. With blockchain.com, I know I'm in good hands. Since 2011, they've been trusted by millions around the world to buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrency.
Prescott's going to run this himself. Run it up the middle, and he scores.
Whether you're new to crypto or an active trader, they've got you covered. What are you waiting for? Get started at blockchain.com.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
Back to the Players Lounge.
The creators of Buffalo Casino Games brings you a Cowboys-themed casino game developed by Aristocrat. Find America's team on and off the reels now at a casino near you. Do you have a gambling problem? Please contact 1-800-GAMBLER for 21 and older.
Hek'ma Harrison, thank you very much. You are in the Players Lounge, brought to you by Aristocrat Gaming.
Yes.
Barry Church out for today. I am Newy Scruggs. We're rolling along here. So Dalvin Cook added to the practice squad. Something I wanted to bring up here. Jerry Jones was asked yesterday, what did Zimmer tell you about Dalvin Cook, and then what did it mean coming from him? And Jerry basically said, there's recommendations, and then there's recommendations from somebody that knows, and then the way he said it.
Right.
So basically, Zimmer put it on Jerry, this guy, you want this guy. I leaned on this guy. This is a good move for you. And so they did it. They brought him in. We talked about Dalvin Cook last year on this show here. He was coming off injury, didn't really jive with the Jets, ended up with Baltimore, and, of course, they got put out of the playoffs. He potentially is fully healed now. Be interesting when we get a chance to talk to Dalvin Cook. But I just think that mix, once again, what are they not telling us? Mike out here praised the Malik Davis. Malik is cut. So now you've got Ezekiel Elliott. Not hearing anybody say he's going to be the bell cow guy. He's going to be I'm not hearing that. So you got Rico Dowdle. You got Hunter Lemke. So, and now you're going to add Dalvin Cook in the room. There's just a lot. There's a lot of gumbo.
Yeah.
Ain't no one chili. It's a lot of gumbo now. Got a lot of gumbo in here. So that means a lot of guys can potentially get the football here. So I'll be interested to see exactly what they do.
Yeah, at this point in the season, you know that the moves that they're making are telltale signs of where they feel like their weaknesses are. I mean, we brought in a cornerback. We brought in another defensive tackle. So you can tell me what you think all you want to. I'm looking at your moves, and this isn't one of those in-season, gamesmanship type of moves. They're trying to strengthen this 53, and they're going to continue to churn as they see need. And so you bring in a guy like Dalvin Cook, and that says to me that, look, if we go to game day, we've got to have two guys in this backfield that we can bet on. And right now I don't feel like we have that. And so what does Dalvin Cook bring that the rest of those guys don't? And look, as you just narrated that, look, Dalvin Cook last season, he was hurt. I mean, nobody would touch him besides the Jets. Who did the Jets have? The Jets had a guy by the name of Breece Hall that was coming off of a knee injury, but oh, by the way, he legit, right?
He was fine.
He was healed.
He was healed.
Right? And the situation was nothing like Dalvin Cook originally thought when he went into New York, because, look, man, this young guy is for real in New York, but you know, I look at the way that he ended last season, only had 5 carries in those last 2 games. Then he goes on to Baltimore, and I think those are forgettable reps, right?
Yeah, I'm laughing because I'm just thinking about, Dalvin Cook's probably looking at the Jets and man, Breece is hurt. He's hurt. And, you look out there, you see the guy running, and then somebody at the Jets looks at him like.
Not as hurt as we thought. Not as hurt as we thought. And that's
Bill Walsh did that to Steve Young.
Yeah.
Because Steve Young saw it was with that 49. He's like,
yes.
You said Joe was hurt, like the back. You said he was hurt, and then Bill Walsh kind of gave him a look like,
yeah.
Well.
Not as hurt as we thought, but I mean, when you look at Dalvin Cook again, I just said it, man. It's all about him staying healthy. If he can stay healthy, and we've seen when he was running under Kevin Stefanski, which I think the Kevin Stefanski, Mike Zimmer. We're going to talk about this next week. The parallel between those two, I think, is going to be interesting going into Cleveland. But the best years that you got out of Dalvin Cook, not only was he a runner, he's also a guy that can receive out of the backfield.
Yes.
So he is multidimensional in that way. And the biggest question that you ask yourself is he healthy? If you're saying, Zeke, I'm just going to push it to 500. If Zeke's going to get you 5, Hunter Lipke, whatever those numbers are going to be, we're going to, there's your gumbo. There's your gumbo. This is how we're mixing it up, because there are a lot of packages that I believe that Mike McCarthy is going to experiment with over these first quarter of games, just to figure out what that running back room is going to look like.
Here's the most important package, and they failed at this last year, the red zone package.
Of course.
Too many times, especially inside the 5-yard line. And they had problems. To me, when I look at the move for Dalvin Cook, okay, here's Dalvin Cook, here's Ezekiel Elliott. We're trying to figure out who can get this ball into the end zone here. And I know Limke had the fumble.
I'm not going to bring it up. I wasn't going to bring it up.
Had it fumble inside the one again. So he's got work he's got to do to gain confidence back. You got Rico Dowdle. They are looking at, we're going to try to fix, with these 4 players, we're going to try to fix how we can punch this thing inside the red zone, especially inside the 5, because that was a critical area, which I think they lost at least 2 football games last year by not being able to have it. Possibly 3 games.
Imagine that. I mean, in those situations which are documented, and you saw it, and just going back to the Miami game, losing Zeke in that situation, I think, was big, because you lose your biggest red zone threat. And having that back, how does this mix? Because we still haven't yet, even through the preseason, we haven't seen that back that is, okay, he could take this 60 yards. We haven't even seen any of those types of runs.
So now you got to, all right, great. I'm glad you brought it up. Guess what? You don't have it.
Yeah.
So boom, there you go.
So
there's no TP. Tony Pollard ain't walking through that door. Tony Dorsett ain't walking through that. You don't have it. Old Zeke, 2016 Zeke, he's not walking through that door. That's not going to be your game.
And I think that's why you bet on Tony Pollard last year, was because you were saying he's that game breaker, he's that game changer, and you never saw that. Even when you tagged him for all that money, you never saw him be that guy, because he only gave you one 100-yard game last season, and you said he was top 10. And I'm saying this.
They misused him.
What?
So, Skip Pete, former running back coach. Skip said, when you had a guy like Pollard, you just don't make him your one guy and he's a part of a tandem. And the best usage you got out of him was that kind of thunder lightning thing between Zeke and Pollard. The problem was they probably needed to change around the dynamic in making Tony maybe the starter more and getting him more playing time before they actually made him the starter. But he had said, don't just put him back there and just say, go be the one guy, go be the workhorse. That's not the best use of his talent.
Look, I mean,
and to me, I think he was correct.
So I'm going to just say this. I thought that last year, Tony Pollard and Rico Dowdle were kind of like one and the same. You didn't get as much of the change of pace that you needed from those two guys as running backs in that backfield. That's really all I can point to, because really, Newy, fundamentally, I believe that a good running back and a good defense can win you a championship. That's just what I believe. But to me, I found now that a lot of people view that as being a dated train of thought when it comes down to football, because this is a pass-centric league. You need a guy in those moments where you're just talking about 2 to 3 games that would have been decided if you could score down in the red zone. That's big. That's the difference between being a 1 seed or playing in the wild card. You feel what I'm saying? So I just look. That's where I really feel like, look, you are hanging on to everything you hear coming off of these boards of who's being cut, because you're still trying to find that guy. I don't think they're done. I don't think they're done looking for running backs, because you can't bet the house that Dalvin Cook can be an 800-yard rusher.
See, I'm not
for the season.
I'm not looking for 800 from him. I'm looking for just a smorgasbord of these guys together. I'm not.
Okay.
That's why I got Zeke under 500. I think this is going to be a true committee of guys. We'll ride who's hot. We'll ride the situation. We'll see where guys are going.
At the end of the season, if it's 15 yards, then it's a success if you have 3 guys or 2 guys with 500 yards rushing. You would call it a successful experiment if you get that, right?
See, I'm not looking so much at the numbers to say, hey, man, 5 for Cook and 5 for Zeke. Give me are you converting in the red zone and scoring?
Okay, good deal.
Are you able to complement your quarterback Dak Prescott and your defense? That's more. I'm more concerned about that than I am necessarily yards, because we've seen people get these Diet Coke empty calorie yards a lot. You get down. You can get down in a game, and next thing you know, you're filling the stat sheet up. You look at the numbers in the Packer game. Okay, Dak had some numbers, but the competitive phase was over. So I'm more concerned about how are you winning games than the numbers, because you could have Ezekiel Elliott have a 49-yard rushing day, but he could have some really critical plays where he's moving the ball on 3rd and 2, or he's scoring inside that red zone, and then that's more of an effectiveness there. So I don't think necessarily looking at numbers are going to tell me what I needed to get out of these guys as much as, hey, what are the wins looking like? How are we able to keep our defense fresh here? How are we able to keep moving the ball and allow Dak? Because if it's me, what is Mike? Mike's a passing guy, always been a passing guy. Can you run the ball effectively enough that Dak doesn't have to throw the ball 40 to 50 times a game? That's what I would not want.
And I guess the only reason why I was questioning that, because the one thing is I'm assuming that everybody feels like the running game is going to be a complement to your quarterback. It's going to help him in those situations where he doesn't have to sustain drives by throwing the ball. If you could turn around and hand it off to a guy like Ezekiel Elliott, if you could score down in the red zone. I just think that, one, even going back to those 5 losses, these are 5 games that you had where, again, if you're able to convert, you're able to win those games, as you pointed out. But then going back to the Green Bay playoff game, if early in that first quarter, if you're able to run the ball, that changes the dynamic of being down 14-0 quickly. Or stop it. But I'm saying, if you can run the ball, convert, pick up a first down, and still keep that offense on the sideline, sometimes the best offense is the best defense, and that comes with the running game.
Let's get our second break in here. Who is the biggest threat to the Cowboys in the East? We will dive into that next on the Players Lunch, brought to you by Aristocrat Gaming, right here on DallasCowboys.com radio.
To kick off the 2023 NFL season, Hugo Boss teamed up with the NFL and Micah Parsons to launch an iconic apparel collection featuring hoodies, crews, t-shirts, polos, joggers, and more. The bold, unique apparel of the Boss NFL collection unites football and fashion while reflecting what it truly means to be a boss. Get yours today at nflshop.com/HugoBoss, at HugoBoss.com, and at Boss retail stores. #Be your own boss.
I'm Cowboys alumni Danny McCray, here with Smoothie King asking, what's that sound? That's the sound of me sipping one of their Power Pack smoothies with over 10 grams of protein. With real fruits and organic veggies, because at Smoothie King, what you see is what you sip. So grab a delicious Smoothie King smoothie, throw a straw in your jaw, and get sipping real. Smoothie King, the official smoothie of the Dallas Cowboys.
Hey there, Cowboys Nation. Kyle Yeomans here, sharing that same team that brought you Buffalo, bringing NFL casino games that show America's team on and off the reels. Aristocrat is changing the game with a new experience. Football fans, this means you can pick your team and play your team. Check out the Cowboys-themed casino games developed by Aristocrat, a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Gambling problem? Please contact the U.S. National Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-GAMBLER for 21 and over.
Raising Cane's presents the other rules of football. Rule 1, any broadcast without the express addition of cooked-to-order Cane's chicken fingers is prohibited. Rule 12, no crinkle-cut fries, Texas toast, or craveable Cane sauce constitutes an illegal formation. And Rule 31, anybody who loves to feed their game face is an eligible receiver of Cane's. When it comes to winning game day, Cane's rules. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love. Go Cowboys.
Back to the Players Lounge.
For the fourth season in a row, two of the country's premier high school football programs will kick off the season in the 2024 Jerry Jones Classic presented by Whataburger on Saturday, August 31st at 2 p.m. Central. The North Crowley Panthers and the Lancaster Tigers will clash for the first time in over 20 seasons under the lights of the Ford Center at the Star in Frisco. Tickets are now available on SeatGeek.com starting at $15.
How many games have you called at Frisco at Ford Center?
Oh, man, probably 100.
Really?
I'm calling that game.
Okay.
So I'm calling that game.
Well, then tell everybody.
That's what I'm about to. It's going to be on Channel 21 and the NFL Network. So, yeah. Ain't that something?
First time on NFL Network?
First time on the NFL Network.
Got your suit picked out?
You know I got my suit picked out.
Okay.
Come on now.
Color scheme? Give me a little.
It's going to be blue. You know, I'm going blue. It's Cowboys, baby.
Okay. All right, man. Congratulations. That's big time right there, man. That is big time. So, I've never been to a high school game there.
Yeah, Kyle Yeomans and myself will be on the call. So
Emmy-winning Kyle Yeomans.
How about that?
How about that? Back-to-back years, man. My man is on a run. So, well, congratulations.
Boy, had triplets. He has Emmys.
Come
on now.
God
play the lotto.
God is blessed. Ain't no playing lotto. God has blessed him. Sometimes you got favor, man. Kyle has favor. So, all right, good luck to you guys as you get ready to do that here. Back here on the Players Lounge, who's the biggest threat to the Cowboys in the East? The first thought is Philadelphia. But as I was trying to pick playoff teams, we know every year there's shuffles.
Absolutely.
It shuffles around.
Yeah.
And Dan Quinn is in Washington now.
Traitor.
Trading.
Yeah, traitor.
Man,
call him a traitor. He left us.
Not the first. Not the first. Right. We saw Noah Turner did it once. Went from being a coordinator here to head coach of Washington. And Brian Daboll's back with the New York Giants. I don't have a lot of faith in the G-men, but is it Philadelphia who's got two different coordinators? Vic Fangio takes over the defense, and Vic Fangio was once the guy when he was coach Denver, came over to Jerry World, said, here's the blueprint on how to beat the Cowboys, and then they have Kellen Moore, former Cowboy quarterback and coordinator. He's now the offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles. So in your mind, Hek'ma Harrison, who of the three is the biggest threat to the Cowboys to knock them off from being NFC East champion?
Well, look, let me just say this, man. It is every time I see a news flash about the dysfunction in Philadelphia, I smile. Because for so many years, they've just gotten that everybody's so kudos and high on their general manager and the signings that they're making. And guys are not very far removed from going to a Super Bowl. But yet, here are questions between Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. Which to me is absurd, between a guy that you paid a substantial amount of money to lead your team. You bring in Saquon Barkley. Obviously, your defense doesn't look the way that it used to now that Fletcher Cox has retired. But I think Philadelphia still is Philadelphia. I mean, there hasn't been a repeat NFC East champion since 2004, and for good reason, because bad teams all of a sudden become good. And I think Dan Quinn, because I loved him so much as a coach when he was here, realized that he is a real, true culture builder, and he's going to do exactly that down in Washington, D.C., that I think with that rookie quarterback, man, they have an opportunity to surprise a lot of people. I do know that there is going to be struggle anytime that you have a rookie quarterback, but defensively, I think with the guys that they've brought in and with the mind of Dan Quinn, it's going to be a problem for a lot of teams. And I don't want to just discount the New York Giants, but right now the Giants don't look like they're putting any effort into getting Daniel Jones any, supporting cast other than the guy neighbors that they got from LSU.
Look, all we got to do is watch the Hard Knocks, and they'll tell you, do they know what they're doing amongst each other? I mean, that was,
right.
They're watching Hard Knocks, and just, I didn't understand the strategy. I go back into the strategy. I'm with you in terms of looking at Washington, because he has, meaning Dan Quinn, he's got institutional knowledge of what's here.
Right.
He knows it. I was so right about Kellen Moore with the Chargers. Remember, Church was fighting me on it. Fighting me. I'm like, no, that ain't it, man. And I was also right in terms of Mike McCarthy needed to be the guy. They needed to move on from Kellen Moore. So Kellen Moore goes out to the Chargers.
Kellen went to let's be fair, though. He went to a sinking ship. All right, so Kellen got on a sinking ship.
So
that thing was already going down.
What were we told about what Justin Herbert was going to do? Remember? He goes from Dak to Justin Herbert. He's with a better quarterback. Right. Okay, Justin Herbert about to blow MVP vote. That was what was put out there.
Right.
Meanwhile, he putting it out there as though Dak limited him, and Dak had all these picks last year, that Dak was the problem. Like, you're working with an inferior player.
What does Dak do?
Right. Dak goes with Mike McCarthy and leads the league in touchdown passes. Right. And what has happened to Justin Herbert? Well, Justin Herbert got paid, but they didn't make the playoffs. Head coach is fired. Kellen Moore's out of a job. So we saw how that thing just imploded.
Right.
So now you're going to go work with Jalen Hurts, who was having a couple questionable issues last year. People started, chirping about him despite, being in the Super Bowl the year before.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts is not the same kind of quarterback that Dak Prescott is. They're different quarterbacks.
Okay.
They're different. Their strengths are different
because of his legs. Okay.
And I think Dak has a better arm. So, good players, but different.
Yeah.
So many times people want to think, black quarterbacks are, no, they're not. They're not. They're just not. So that's why I would just say I think I'm just not sold on Kellen Moore. Yeah. And also knowing that the general manager, Howie Roseman, likes to be involved.
Yeah, well,
they want a collaboration. So I don't know how well.
And that's what I'm saying. For so many times, you hear Howie Roseman's name come up as the genius that gets these guys signed, and he made it to Philadelphia Bulldogs with all the Georgia acquisitions that they made out there. But I mean, look, I think no matter what, you could possibly the Cowboys could repeat as NFC East champions. It'd be 20 years since it's been done. But they're going to have to, number one, stop the run. If that happens,
sure.
If the Cowboys do that, then I'm looking at a team that obviously offensively, if Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb, they have a connection coming into this season that doesn't take them 5 games to get started.
Correct.
Yeah.
Hey, look,
So in my head is that.
Stop the run and also be able to run the ball in the red zone.
Half full.
Sure. Sure. Let it get half.
It's not hopium. It's half full.
So, on the record, biggest threat in the NFC East of the Cowboys is for Hek'ma Harrison?
I'm going Philadelphia.
I'll go Washington.
Okay.
I am going to go Washington. The institutional knowledge of Dan Quinn and his belief of being able to get – because people up there and players up there, they're starving for something different. What he brought here and how that defense was changed around here, I believe he can do some of those same things for them as well. Not saying it's going to necessarily result in them winning the East or making the play, but I do think we're going to see some. They're not going to be an easy game on Sunday.
What are your thoughts on rookie quarterbacks? Because most people believe the same thing about rookie quarterbacks. Do you think that Daniels, obviously in his first year at Washington, could have a substantial amount of success to lead them to a championship or just NFC East championship?
Honestly, I have not seen enough of the young man.
Okay.
To make a determination here in the preseason, but I'm a fan of Cliff Kingsbury. I think he understands offenses very well. You just kind of look at his track record there, and biggest thing is just keep him in games. And if you can get this thing to the fourth quarter, and we know they have defensive, especially the D line, they've got talent there. It's just been a matter of unlocking it. And I think that Dan Quinn will be able to unlock some things that Ron Rivera was not able to do in Washington. I also think Ron had too much on his plate in Washington as well. Dan's going to be able to coach the team. They've got people in the front office to run it. They have Ron doing a lot of stuff here, so I think they can be an approved overall organization from that. Hek'ma, this was fun, man. We will
man.
We'll get after it on Monday.
Didn't take us long to disagree.
Or Tuesday.
Tuesday. Yeah. Labor Day.
I'm not going to make you labor on Labor Day.
Yes.
Chris is going to be working on Labor Day for sure.
All right, that's Players Lounge.
Negative.
Goodbye.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!